Welcome. We have a new update from the White House on the drone mystery over New Jersey. Let's see what they have to say.
And before I turn to questions, I do have news directly from the President of the United States that was just shared with me in the Oval Office from President Trump directly, an update on the New Jersey drones. After research and study, the drones that were flying over New Jersey in large numbers were authorized to be flown by the FAA for research and various other reasons. Many of these drones were also hobbyists, recreational, and private individuals that enjoy flying drones. In time, it got worse due to curiosity. This was not the enemy. A statement from the President of the United States to start this briefing with some news. And with that, I will turn it over to questions. And we will begin with our new media members, Mike Allen from Axios, Matt Boyle from Breitbart. Mike, why don't you go ahead?
Thank you very much. Caroline, does the president see anything fishy about DeepSeek, either its origins or its cost? And could China's ability to make these models quicker, cheaper, affect our thinking about expanding generation data centers, chip manufacturing?
Sure. The president was asked about DeepSeek last night on Air Force One when he gaggled for, I think, the third or fourth time throughout the weekend with members of the traveling press corps. The president said that he believes that this is a wake-up call to the American AI industry. The last administration sat on their hands and allowed China to rapidly develop this AI program. And so President Trump believes in restoring American AI dominance. And that's why he took very strong executive action this past week to sign executive orders to roll back some of the onerous regulations on the AI industry. And President Trump has also proudly appointed the first AI and crypto czar at this White House, David Sachs, whom I spoke with yesterday, very knowledgeable on this subject. And his team is here working every single day to ensure American AI dominance. Secretary Scott Bessent.
Well,
It is imperative that the Senate continues to confirm the remainder of the president's well-qualified nominees as quickly as possible.
yes, RFK getting confirmed today. Guys, if you didn't see the hearings, they were pretty ridiculous. Some of the questions that were asked. There was the measles question, which was just the worst of the worst. I'll play that one for you guys.
You made almost $5 million from book deals, mostly promoting junk science. In 2021, in a book called The Measles Book, you wrote that parents had been, quote, misled into believing that measles is a deadly disease and that measles vaccines are necessary, safe, and effective. The reality is measles are in fact deadly and highly contagious, something that you should have learned after your lies contributed to the deaths of 83 people, most of them children, in a measles outbreak in Samoa. So my question here is, Mr. Kennedy, is measles deadly, yes or no?
Your advocacy of seatbelts, Mr. Kennedy. How can you assure that seatbelts are safe? Last year, seatbelts contributed to the deaths of 83 drowning victims who crashed their cars into lakes and couldn't escape because their seatbelts held them in. Are you arguing in favor of seatbelts? I mean, come on, this is so anti-scientific and retarded. How do these? This is like idiocracy here in America. Please, Mr. Wyden, vote these people out of office. Get these people out. Vote them out. Oh, you think Wyden's insane? Did you see Elizabeth Warren? Let's watch the latest on Pocahontas. Let me find the Alex Jones one. This is the one. Come on, where was it? Right here. I can't believe I'm not following him. Yeah, where's Elizabeth Warren? Come on. All right, let's search for her. You see the one here? Oh God, this was the worst. Anyways, yeah, it's just these people who, I mean, Elizabeth Warren, when she first ran for, Congress and everything, and she wasn't bad, and then same with Bernie. I used to like be into Bernie, but both these guys just turned around and just stabbed America in the back. They don't care nothing about making America healthy again. Or what's the issue with the vaccines is accountability, liability, okay? Liability, number one, and informed consent, number two. That's all Kennedy is asking for with the vaccines. He's not anti-vax. He's not going at, he made money selling awesome books that he wrote, exposing some very powerful people that are very upset about it. If he was lying and slandering those people, guarantee you Bill Gates would fucking sue him. I mean, look at Bill Gates on RFK, right?
What do you make of RFK and vaccines and what he's saying about it and the position he's been given in this incoming administration?
Well, he wrote a book saying that Tony Fauci and I kill millions of children and make billions of dollars with vaccines. And, people can judge for themselves whether that's correct or not.
What do you make of RFK?
That's literally all he said. Bill Gates is the type of person who would absolutely sue the fucking piss off out of you. He would sue the pants off of you if you were lying about him and slandering him.
Vaccines.
Why
and what he's saying
that?
about it and the position he's been
Why
given in this incoming administration.
Well, he wrote a book saying that Tony Fauci and I kill millions of children and make billions of dollars with vaccines. And people can judge for themselves whether that's.
And people can judge for themselves. Okay, you can judge for yourselves whether that's true or not. That's all I have to say about that, because I mean that's just how things work. Honestly, if he made millions of dollars selling, someone made millions of dollars selling lies about me, you guarantee I'd be in court to take those millions of dollars away from them and win them back for myself, right? Wouldn't you? Especially if it destroyed your entire reputation that you built this whole Gates Foundation and tried so hard to build this philanthropic image for yourself to make yourself look like a hero while you're building, super labs full of super mosquitoes and AI computer stuff. I mean, all that stuff is not just him. But anyways, let's get into. We need RFK in there. I hope he gets confirmed. We have enough. All the Republicans are voting for him, and a few of the Democrats went across parties because they realized, we have to get to the bottom of this autism problem and the autism spike and everything that's. We have to figure out what's giving kids autism. And the CDC won't do the vax versus anti-vax study. They demonized the scientist Robert Wakefield, who. And all that stuff. So I don't want to get into it here on the channel. We need RFK in here. He's the guy to fix all these problems, and I can't believe it's happening. The deep state is absolutely panicking. If you've seen the panic on the face of Elizabeth Warren today, let's play that video just so people can watch the panic, the sheer terror that is in the deep state's face.
Lies vilified.
We need to move on.
Can I commit
You're
to
not going to take money from drug companies in any way, shape, or form.
Who? Me?
Yes, you.
Oh, yeah, I'm happy to commit to that.
Okay, good. That's what I figured. I said it's an easy question to start with. And I think you're right on this.
I don't think any of them want to give me money, by the way.
Let's keep going. You're right, because to say yes, because every American has the right to know that every decision you make as our number one health officer is to help them and not to make money for yourself in the future. So I want to talk more about money. I'm looking at your paperwork right now. In the past 2 years, you've raked in $2.5 million from a law firm called Wisner Baum. You go online, you do commercials to encourage people to sign up with Wisner Baum to join lawsuits against vaccine makers. And for everyone who signs up, you personally get paid. And if they win their case, you get 10% of what they win. So if you bring in somebody who gets $10 million, you walk away with $1 million. Now, you just said that you want the American people to know you can't be bought. Your decisions won't depend on how much money you could make in the future. You won't go to work for a drug company after you leave HHS. But you and I both know there's another way to make money. So, Mr. Kennedy, will you also agree that you won't take any compensation from any lawsuits against drug companies while you are secretary and for 4 years afterwards?
Well, I'll certainly commit to that while I'm secretary. But I do want to clarify something because you're making me sound like a shill.
Well, this is great.
I put
You're the
together
one who
that
got-
case. I did the Science Day presentation to the judge on that case to get it into court, the
Mr.
Daubert
Kennedy,
hearing.
Mr. Kennedy, it's just a really simple question.
Yeah,
You've taken in $2.5 million. I want to know if you will commit right now that not only will you not go to work for drug companies, you won't go to work suing the drug companies and taking your rake out of that while you're secretary and for 4 years after. It's just,
I'll commit to not taking any fees from drug companies while I'm secretary.
I'm asking about fees from suing drug companies. Will you agree not to do that?
You're asking me to not sue drug companies,
No,
and I'm
you
not
can
going to agree
sue
to that,
drug
Senator.
companies as much as you want.
I'm not going to agree to not sue drug companies or anybody.
So let's do a quick count here of how, as secretary of HHS, if you get confirmed, you could influence every one of those lawsuits. Well, let me start the list. You could publish your anti-vaccine conspiracies, but this time on U.S. government letterhead, something a jury might be impressed by. You could appoint
I don't
people to the
understand that.
CDC vaccine panel who share your anti-vax views and let them do your dirty work. You could tell the CDC vaccine panel to remove a particular vaccine from the vaccine schedule. You could remove vaccines from special compensation programs, which would open up manufacturers to mass torts. You could make more injuries eligible for compensation, even if there is no causal evidence. You could change vaccine court processes to make it easier to bring junk lawsuits. You could turn over FDA data to your friends at the law firm, and they could use it however it benefited them. You could change vaccine labeling. You could change vaccine information rules. You could change which claims are compensated in the vaccine injury compensation program. There's a lot of ways that you can influence those future lawsuits and pending lawsuits while you are secretary of HHS. And I'm asking you to commit right now that you will not take a financial stake in every one of those lawsuits so that what you do as secretary will also benefit you financially down the line.
I'll comply with all the ethical guidelines.
That's not the question. You and I, you have said
You're asking me, Senator, you're asking me not to sue vaccine pharmaceutical companies.
Not. My
Yeah, you are. That's exactly what you're doing.
No, look, no one should be fooled here. As secretary of HHS, Robert Kennedy will have the power to undercut vaccines and
Yeah, literally everything she said didn't sound that bad. It sounds like everything we need to do and what we have to do and to get control back and reign. You know, they've captured the regulatory agencies. They've captured you people. They've captured all you. Used to be like legit. They've captured all these people. I guarantee there's something going on there, man. It's just doesn't make sense, man. For her to be, flipping out about this and saying he can't. She's like trying to make it like, oh, he's gonna, set up these things and then do all these lawsuits against the companies and then benefit from them. Kennedy's not going to do that. Kennedy would never do that, man. That's, I mean, it's kind of like from a legal standpoint of just setting it up so that he can't do that. But I mean, again, there's other laws that protect. I'm sure there's other laws that protect against that sort of thing. That's sort of like, I don't know. It just, the Dems are losing their absolute minds over this happening, and this is great. Yeah, she's acting like they got her like grandkids in a friggin' room, and they're gonna with a gun to their heads, saying, the only way we're gonna release your granddaughter is if you make this work. Anyways, that's all a bunch of nonsense. And then we got this happening live right now as we speak. Military helicopter has collided with a regional jet near Reagan Airport. Holy crap, this started streaming 76 minutes ago. I'll see if there's other footage of it. For a second here, there's a
military, government, law enforcement. You just said the AP put out an alert saying that it was Army, and a source does tell me there are expected to be around 60 individuals currently unaccounted for, and authorities fear that there may not be too many survivors. Emergency services are currently on the scene of this collision. As you can see in front of me, I've never seen this amount of flashing blue lights before my eyes.
Boy.
Right now, they're conducting search and rescue operations under pretty challenging conditions. Earlier it was warmer, but the temperatures have now
look at
started
all
to
those
drop.
freaking.
I'm told this is
Are those are all ambulances, and fire trucks and yeah, those are all like ambulances and fire trucks and police cars. Man, that's a lot.
all
That is
hands
a
on deck
lot
effort with local
police
agencies,
cars,
including
a lot of
DC,
ambulances and fire
Alexandria,
trucks, man.
Arlington, Fairfax, both police and
nuts.
fire and EMS personnel, as well as federal agencies like the National Park Service. And I'm told that DCA actually requested MPS's helicopter known as the Eagle to assist in the search and rescue operations, which is a pretty big deal. And my photographer, Jesse, actually reminded me that this incident marks the first major aviation accident in the Potomac River since January 13th, 1982. You may remember that it crashed into the 14th Street Bridge shortly after takeoff from Reagan National Airport. The aircraft plunged into the icy Potomac River, resulting in more than 70 fatalities, including 4 motorists on the bridge. And that was according to our past reporting. And sadly, only 5 individuals did survive during that disaster. But back out here live again, you can see there's a huge police presence. We do know that DCA has stopped all flights coming in and out at this time. Media is being asked to go to Terminal 1 right now. You just have to think and wonder about how the families who know that their loved ones may have been on that flight are feeling right now. There's definitely a sense of, curiosity, heartache. So we're going to go down inside the airport right now, Jim and Angie,
We're trying to exploit all of that for news purposes, to sell stories. Anyways, yeah, thank you, Fox, for this coverage. We'll catch back up on that later, but that's what's going on right now, guys. Believe it or not. No, we don't know who is on the flight yet, but what do you guys feel about Kash Patel? Smashing the deep state. This was a month ago.
Kash Patel was named by President-elect Donald Trump to be his pick to lead the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Patel would replace his former pick, Christopher Wray, who still technically has 3 years left on his 10-year tenure. But Patel has vowed to smash what he calls the deep state, and he says the FBI's mission creep is reducing its effectiveness and causing it to violate Americans' civil liberties.
The FBI director should not be subject to the whims of the twos and fro's of politics.
Morning Joe reacted Monday with predictable horror at Donald Trump's decision to pick Kash Patel to lead the FBI and aired this clip from an interview between Patel and Bannon 3 times. Yes, 3. Here's that clip.
Kash, I know you're probably going to be head of the CIA, but do you believe that you can deliver the goods on this in a pretty short order the first couple of months so we can get rolling on prosecutions?
Yes, we got the bench for it, Bannon, and you know those guys. I'm not going to go out there and say their names right now so the radical left-wing media can terrorize them. But, excuse me, the one thing we learned in the Trump administration the first go-around is we got to put in all-America patriots top to bottom. And we got them for law enforcement. We got them for intel collection. We got them for offensive operations. We got them for DOD, CIA, everywhere. We will go out and find the conspirators, not just in government, but in the media. Yes, we're going to come after the people in the media who lied about American citizens, who helped Joe Biden rig presidential elections. We're going to come after you. Whether it's criminally or civilly, we'll figure that out. But yeah, we're putting you all on notice.
Oh,
Morning Joe said this.
We're putting you all on notice.
We're putting them on notice, man. So right now, if Kash Patel gets in, we need to put Lou on notice because they need to investigate the infiltration of ufology by this group of techno scam artists. TTSA with I like to call them to the Stars Academy. You remember Lampshade Lou, right? Lou Elizondo, right? And the Lampshade Lou with that lampshade that he tried saying was a UFO now. So he's got fake evidence. He doesn't have a lot of, he's hiding real stuff. This is a limited hangout operation that is being run by a coordinated group of individuals who are fooling low IQ news reporters who fall for this nonsense. And just in time for the new Trump administration takeover, now we have this whole influx of all these a whole new set of scam artists claiming that they can have all these sort of abilities, which as a scientist, I want to challenge them all to reproduce any of these psychic abilities and any of this stuff, which really sounds like Witch Mountain, Disney stuff. I did your regular one. Send me an email right now so I can know which is your right email address to send it to, man. Anyways, yeah, all that stuff's. I think there's other explanations for a lot of this stuff, and I really would like to set up the testing of these abilities to really get a better understanding of what is going on with these supposed, crazy abilities, because there are people claiming superpowers and the ability to summon a UFO. I mean, why not just host a pay-per-view event saying we're going to summon a UFO on May 1st or April 1st, right? And get everyone to pay for pay-per-view and then summon the UFO. I mean, why can't they just get everyone together and bring it out? Yeah, if thank you for the $5 first super chat of the night. Unlimited Client Engine sent me $5. You read my mind on Lou finally calling out this bullshit. Also, you like Kash, you get a tip. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. Kash Patel is going to clean house on the FBI and all these illegal and unconstitutional domestic disinformation operations that they are running. And, I know that Lou is not legit because, he would not go on skeptical podcasts. He'd not go on podcasts of real researchers and real UFO activists like myself and my friends who are really working on getting, real information out of the scientific community, interviewing the scientists and really digging into the real programs and the knowledge of, what's actually going on. And they refuse to publish. They say it's all aliens, and it's all aliens, but a 13-year-old video, guys, and it starts off right in the very beginning, opening 2 seconds into the video, very opening thing. It says right here, global surveillance threats are prevalent. What does that mean? Global surveillance threats. That means China. That means stuff that isn't ours. That means the opposite of what that nice blonde lady just told us in that White House press hearing, which is the same thing, if you remember, Biden told us, 2-3 months ago. Nonsense. Global surveillance threats are prevalent. And this video, which is right here, check. 13 years ago, technology 13 years old. That's not just 13 years old. But really, the most important part is right here, where it shows the tank go invisible, disappear, and the infrared disappear. They can make it actually shapeshift and look like an SUV. They can change the military signature and presence. They make it look like a small car. They can make it look like a group of people. They can make it look like a seagull or a flapping bird or a whole bunch of other crap, right? They display the SUV on the side, and suddenly the tank disappears and it looks like an SUV. And then, they also show right here, helicopters. So they had the idea 13 years ago to put these chromatic panels on freaking helicopters. That was 13 years ago. Imagine the kind of technology they have now and the kind of stealth helicopters we got flying around. And then you wonder why they're crashing into airplanes, right? Live right now, we got one. Who knows what happened, but I don't know necessarily that this helicopter that crashed was one of these, or that these shape-shifting UFOs, which are reportedly seen by locals there, are in fact explainable by these technologies, because these technologies certainly sound a lot more plausible than they're freaking aliens that people are summoning with their psychic abilities and from these secret psychic UFO programs, which are the real UFO programs, right? These are the real programs. This is all out there in the mainstream, flooding the airwaves right now, just in time for the new election, for the new Trump administration, so that they'll guys like Donald Trump Jr. will be interviewing Elizondo and not realizing what the game that's being played on them with the deep state and who really has control over this technology. I think that there's a Manhattan Project 2.0 going on right now. They can't even tell us about it. I've been told that people that work at some of these facilities that there's some crazy stuff going on. Now, that in mind, I will want to point out that if you go to Grok, finally, I was asking Grok a bunch of other stuff earlier, so I have it saved. I'm going to share that. So on the Freescale, back on the MH370 investigation, we have gotten the Malaysian Airlines passenger list. This is the flight manifest about all the passengers that died aboard the plane. Now comes the task, because Freescale Semiconductor never released the names of those 20 scientists that all just mysteriously died aboard that flight. So in order to figure out who those scientists were, we need to see if any of these names match up with any of the patents or any of the employee records or anything that we can find on Freescale Semiconductor from 2013, 2014. And we need to do this in the next week before it gets scrubbed, because a lot of this stuff seems like it was scrubbed right after I interviewed Ashton and started talking about this stuff, which is another indication to me that there's something more going on with all this, and they're really worried about people finding out information about this flight. So anyways, number of these names are going to turn up some interesting things. Just got to look into it. Anyways, they have the technology to make planes go invisible, make planes disappear, go stealth, and I don't know if this plane has disappeared and flown to Diego Garcia. Then those passengers loaded aboard a space shuttle for the secret space program, and now they're working on material science on some space center, building quasi crystals in zero gravity, microgravity space environments. Who knows? I have reason to think that they might not. I mean, they had never been. I don't know what happened to these people, and I think we need to investigate it. I hope that there's an investigation into that, because it really needs to happen. Ashton is reaching some really big audiences with that information, and it leads directly to a lot of interesting science, because the semiconductor science is like metamaterials, what these guys were working on. And then the whole company, before this flight goes down, it gets bought out by the Blackstone Group, which is like, this is like the New York, investment management and mergers and acquisitions kind of home. And they do some interesting people involved in all this, but some of the connections to this in the past, right, were let's find the connections. I want to make sure I nail these connections down before I really report on this stuff. I found out the Blackstone Group came up before in my 9/11 research. Lots of other people have found the Blackstone Group too, researching 9/11, and just to find them connected to Freescale Semiconductor. Freescale Semiconductor and the whole MH370 thing makes me super suspicious too. So I encourage people to check that out. Back to the psychic abilities thing. I talked about this stuff with the brain. We still don't understand a lot about how the brain works, but this is a crazy video about this guy that gets in an accident and then unlocks these special abilities in his head. And he draws all this out and says like there's this hyperdimensional space, and that he's able to like basically map out using these groups in his brain to map out all these he basically can do like large calculations in his head. That he's like a human calculator. They can just throw numbers at him. He can crunch them. And he says that the way he does it is by this geometry and the way the pieces fit together in his head. And they gave him clay and asked him to make all these different numbers. And then like months apart, that he'd go back and make the same number the same way. So there's definitely, not making it up. This is how his brain is doing this shit. I don't know if it's this guy. Is it that guy? Where's the one with the shapes? Damn, and then Kim Peek, that's the Rain Man. That guy has special abilities too. And then the twin sisters who remember everything. Yeah, Flo and Kay These autistic girls, these are freaking nuts. Yeah, these two girls. This is a crazy documentary about these the Flo and K. Just weird abilities to, they like think part of the same. They like think this a lot the same. They probably could communicate almost what we'd say is telepathically, because but they're also like they can't forget anything. And they'll ask, this is nuts. You guys gotta watch. I'm gonna play this for you so you guys can see this, because it's like some wild shit. Why is it not sharing the sound? Damn it. You guys be able to listen to this. Hear it.
Felt so far.
Good. Great.
Now get it. And it makes it smell like rubber.
Diagnosed, but I believed that she was manic depressive.
She woke us up out of a sound sleep and says, come on down in the kitchen with me.
She sealed off the kitchen and turned on the gas oven.
1985.
Yeah, they remember everything. They have you ask them what day it was, they'll tell you the weather out, like what they had for breakfast, all this kind of stuff. It was they're only hurt, so identical twin autistic savants. So they're like the only ones we know.
An autistic savant is someone that is very, very good at a unique skill. Remembering dates, remembering numbers, remembering names. In some ways, they are retarded, and in some ways, they're geniuses.
What day of the week was January 14th, 1969?
Tuesday.
What day of the week was August 12th, 1972?
Saturday.
What about January 10th, 1995?
Tuesday.
They don't forget anything.
What did you eat on January 10th, 1994?
For dinner, we had pork chops, we had mixed vegetables, and baked potato.
What did you drink?
Mint tea.
But they're never wrong. Their dates are always right.
August 24th, 1992. What was the weather like on that day?
Oh, we had hurricane. We almost said we were going to have Hurricane Andrew, but it blew out. But it went to Miami instead.
What was the weather like on that day around here?
Oh, hot. Just like this. Hot and sticky.
As far back as I can remember, 4 or 5 years old. They had amazing recall. and I used to listen to records with them.
Black and White.
Three Dog Night.
Back Home Again.
John Denver.
I Gotcha.
Joe Tex.
Day After Day.
Badfinger.
They seem to have obsessions and they seem to have compulsions. They keep charts on the clothing that different anchor people wear.
All right, here's Charles Gibson, Oprah Winfrey, Diane Sawyer, Dave Wagner.
Now, this is what I wear.
Yeah.
What colors am I wearing?
All right, now you got white and black on now.
Is that what I generally wear?
Yeah.
You keep track of these every day?
Yeah.
That must be hard to keep up with all this.
Oh no, we've been doing that a long time.
How long?
Oh, about 21 years.
They get stuck on a particular subject. The examples that I would use with them,
Amazing. Anyways, yeah, where's Bernie, man? And he's in the back, but I don't see him out. And I thought he'd be joining here. I need a co-host, man. It's not easy doing this by yourself, and I'm tired. It's late. I worked all day. But sorry, I was just talking about the deep state and everything else that's going on. Sorry. I'm back. Anyways, yeah, I'd like to hear you guys' opinion on all this. Just the Pocahontas meltdown. What else is new? What else did I want to talk about? I wanted to bring up FBI UFO files. Oh yeah, I wanted to show this video. I want to show this. We're waiting for Bernie. I'm going to show you guys this.
Meet Patel Memorial Institute, a private nonprofit applied sciences and technology development company whose mission is to, quote, deliver scientific discovery and applied research that makes the world a better place to live. This private nonprofit has a prolific list of USG contracted work, including classified SAPs. Patel has a storied history in the technological development of our US society, including research into the fabrication of uranium for the Manhattan Project from 39 to 52, development of the photocopy machine and UPC barcode system, work on combustion, electronics, energy conversion, propellants, all for Apollo 11, and military research into biological and chemical weapons / defense systems, and more. Today, Patel manages the National Biodefense Analysis and Countermeasures Center at Los Alamos National Laboratory and the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, NREL, as well as Oak Ridge National Lab, all of which are DOE-sponsored labs. So we already see some ties here with Patel and the USG UAP work in Los Alamos and the DOE. But what if I told you Patel is harboring a dark secret, that the company has a long history of studying UFOs aiding the USG and USAF in the UFO cover-up, and has even conducted analysis on UFO material. Hey guys, it is UAP Gerb, and we are finally going to start to dive into one of the most fascinating aspects of the UFO phenomena, the private sector's connection to the study of UFOs. Numerous key figures such as David Grush, Lou Elizondo, Chris Mellon, Eric Davis, former Senator Harry Reid, and more have made direct statements that USG defense contractors have a direct hand in the reverse engineering and crash retrieval of UAP. So today, we are going to dive into one such company with real dirty hands on work of UFO material and research, the Patel Memorial Institute. The earliest tracing of Patel and UFOs goes to something called Project Stork. In 1952, the director of the Central Intelligence received a memorandum titled Flying Saucers, which detailed an arrangement between ATIC, the Air Force Technology Intelligence Committee, and Patel Memorial Institute for the contractor to establish a machine indexing system for official reports of UFO sightings. On the 9th of January 1953, Patel's Dr. Howard C. Cross proposes that the ongoing Project Stork, quote, assist the Air Force in reassuring the public that everything is well under control with respect to the UFO problem. At the time, this memo was classified secret and even calls to attention Captain Edward J. Ruppelt, the project's Sign, Grudge, and Blue Book director. I've talked about him in the history of the stigma, so check that video out if you haven't. If you'll remember from that same video, in 1953, the Robertson panel was conducted to ensure that all national security agencies should strip UFOs of, quote, special status, and suggest to the public there is no legitimate evidence of their existence. While the Robertson panel was conducted, Patel had been commissioned around the same time to separately analyze all Air Force UFO cases away from Blue Book or these official panels under codename Stork. This project, parallel to Blue Book, was even mentioned by J. Allen Hynek during his attempted testimony at the Robertson panel. Thanks to the efforts of SUFON, the computer UFO network, I have been able to find all 7 Project Stork status reports. That is another analysis for another day. However, all parts, of course, will be provided in the video description. On the 5th of May, 1955, Patel and ATIC published a comprehensive analysis of 3,200 UFO sightings, titled Special Report 14. This report concluded that UFO are not aerial aircraft beyond human scientific knowledge, because no physical matter had ever been recorded from any UFO sighting. But if we dig deeper, there is a massive contradiction here from Patel's claim that no physical matter had ever been recovered. 6 years earlier, in 1949, Patel had been contracted by none other than Wright-Patterson Air Force Base to perform analysis on shape memory alloys. See on screen now, and in the video notes, the first and second progress report covering the period of September 1st to October 21st, 1949 on research and development of titanium alloys, contract number 33-038-3736. The bulk of these investigations focus on nitinol, a nickel titanium alloy, a metal that would not be officially discovered until 1961 by Dr. William J. Buehler. So Patel was performing analysis on the nickel titanium shape metal alloy, now known as nitinol, over 10 years prior to its official discovery. Well, what exactly is nitinol? For you material scientists out there, and I'm not one of you, nitinol has the unique properties of superelasticity and shape memory. The metal can be subjected to high levels of stress and snap back to its original shape when pressure is released, showing no deformation on the material. Nitinol is also elastochloric, where the material heats up when exposed to a mechanical force field. When this heat is released into the environment and the force field is removed, the material supercools and extracts the same amount of heat from the environment again. If I'm not stressing this enough, nitinol is a remarkable material that is exceedingly difficult to manufacture due to the exceptionally high and tight compositional control required and the tremendous reactivity of titanium. The material is even used for thermal and electrical actuators, implants due to the material's biocompatibility and structural dampening. So again, Patel was contracted to perform a material analysis on an alloy that is exceedingly difficult to make. requiring vacuum arc remelting or vacuum induction remelting to manufacture today in the 21st century, but had this material in the late 40s, specifically 1949? And does this alloy not sound almost exactly like the material that was discovered in the 1947 Roswell crash that Jesse Marcel described as an exceedingly light metal that would retain its shape after deformation? And remember, Jesse Marcel was a military officer who was taken to the UFO crash debris field with rancher Mac Brazel, who discovered these materials and then was later told by General Ramey to pose with balsa wood and aluminum foil to push the weather balloon theory, and all of this is in Marcel's own words. More damning is that this debris from a UFO was supposedly shipped to none other than, you guessed it, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. So to summarize, I am directly inferring that the 1947 Roswell crash led to the discovery of the material known as nitinol, and thus Wright-Patterson Air Force Base and the US Air Force contracted Patel to perform a material analysis on nitinol in 1949, over 10 years before its quote-unquote official discovery in the private sector. But this wouldn't be a UAP group video without the mention of the Atomic Energy Commission, would it not? Well, this study by Patel into titanium-based alloys was a research and development project under the Atomic Energy Commission. For those of you who have never watched one of my videos, UFO records and materials have been classically misclassified under the 1954 Atomic Energy Agreement under Transclassified Nuclear Foreign Material. With this report, Patel's work on titanium alloys is one of very few studies without classification. It's not labeled as classified, unclassified, or declassified, but rather is labeled as restricted. Essentially, this is a private sector classification standard in which only need-to-know read-in access is solely allowed. If you've never heard of this before, people like David Grush have spoken that part of the reason that private industries are used for UFO studies is because they have their own legal classification standards that can't be breached by people with SAP access like Grush himself. But even more perplexing, these studies into nitinol were not declassified until 2010. But we can go deeper, because I have the most bizarre connection to make with Patel and this nitinol UFO material. Within Patel Report 2, we observe an inconspicuous subsection titled, quote, Analytical Methods for Titanium-Based Alloys by one A.C. Eckert and E.J. Center, a senior research chemical engineer who worked for Patel from 1939 to 1957. Nothing out of the ordinary, right? Center's section of the report deals with titanium purity. Exceptionally pure titanium is needed to make nitinol memory metal due to the high reactivity as titanium, as I mentioned above. So keep E.J. Center's name in mind, because let's travel to the summer of 1994 and read into the Ohio UFO Notebook by Dr. Irene Scott and the MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network Board of Directors. This piece, titled, quote, The Ohio UFO Crash Connection and Other Stories, details an informant who came to MUFON in 1992. This man attended North High School in Columbus, Ohio in the late 1950s. In 1958, he dated a girl named Kathy Center. One night while visiting her home, her father, one Elroy John Center, told them while working at Patel, and remember he left in 1957, he was, quote, responsible for a project which required him to study parts retrieved from a flying saucer. This section of E.J. Center is under one decoding the I-beam of the MUFON report. Roswell enthusiasts will know that Major Jesse Marcel, who was taken by rancher Mac Braswell to the debris field, found an I-beam amongst the wreckage and memory metal, which had strange characters on it resembling hieroglyphs. What's crucial to remember here, guys, is that although MUFON reports on E.J. Center and his work on flying saucers for Patel in 1994, E.J. Center's 1949 work on nitinol was not declassified until 2010. So making this connection, unless E.J. Center was really, in fact, working on materials from a crashed disk for Patel, likely the Roswell wreckage, and blabbed about it once he left Patel in '58, would be impossible. To put the cherry on top here, You JRE fans will remember famed computer scientist and ufologist Jacques Vallée appearing on JRE, the Joe Rogan podcast, on the 4th of December 2020 with The Phenomenon director James Fox. If you haven't seen The Phenomenon by Fox, I highly recommend checking this out, as well as Moment of Contact, which is about the Varginha, Brazil UFO case. He's got great documentaries. But anyways, Jacques is famous for spending many years connecting the private sector to official USG investigation. And within this podcast, he references one of the entities that helps control the UFO phenomena and the study of it in intelligence agencies is, quote, a private contractor. But Vallée nervously states he does not wish to disclose who in fact has UFO materials. Fox comes to all of our rescue to suggest the name of the group indirectly by stating its involvement with the 1953 Robertson panel. As we studied above, this is Patel Memorial Institute. I honestly don't know if I'm able to use JRE clips from Spotify for copyright inclusion, so I'm not going to do that here. But if you wish to check this out, this is JRE episode 1574 and began at about an hour and 42 minutes in, where Jacques starts talking about pieces of metal recovered from UFOs. And this is where the discussion about what private industry has these materials and where Patel is suggested by Fox and Vallée himself. And lastly, Patel actually has shocking connections to Arrow and Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, our modern-day disinformation agent. Kirkpatrick and Arrow were directed to report to one Ronald Moultrie, the Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence and Security, and almost definitely one of the hostile witnesses on David Grush's list. If you'll remember from my Sean Kirkpatrick and Arrow video, in 2022, Arrow and the DoD awarded a company called Sandcorp a contract of $1.9 million for Arrow support services. This Sandcorp specializes in preventing leaks and stopping whistleblowers. Okay, and guess who oversaw this contract? The Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence and Security, one Ronald Moultrie. Additionally, on the 16th of December 2022, Ronald Moultrie and Sean Kirkpatrick actually held a public press conference that they have not seen evidence of crashed UFOs that suggest they are craft from another planet or dimension. They additionally suggest there have been no crash recoveries. So here, alongside Kirkpatrick, we see that Ronald Moultrie is vested and interested in playing down UAP and stopping whistleblowers, right? Well, the Honorable Ronald Moultrie is actually a board member of Patel and has been since 2016. And worse yet, Moultrie has tried to scrub this from his record, including taking down his board membership from his LinkedIn page. But fortunately, Pogo.com stated on its website that Moultrie had been an advisory board member at Patel, and fortunately grabbed screenshots before Moultrie took this down, as I'm showing on screen right now. So even up to the modern day, Patel has its hooks sank in the USG and is controlling the UAP narrative. So, Patel, not only have they played their hand in investigating UFOs for the USG and Air Force, but they've also aided in quelling public interest in UFOs by saying there's nothing to them and studying UFO material, such as nitinol, which was likely recovered from the Roswell crash. Guys, if I can't stress this enough, the story of the EJ Center, in 1949, he worked for Patel studying the nickel titanium alloys, and this was not declassified until 2010. But in 1994, the Ohio MUFON Journal reported on EJ Center, who said he worked on parts of a flying saucer once he left Patel in '58. That connection is just obscene and really adds another kernel of credibility to this already baffling case with a ton of supporting evidence. I hope you guys enjoyed this look into Patel.
Yes, I did. This was amazing. Thank you for this awesome work, and I'm so glad to share that with you guys. Well, I waited for Bernie to get his mic set up, but he's running into some technical difficulties trying to get things set up on his end. It's an hour into the show. I want to go to bed. I'm tired. I'm going to shut it off right here, guys. I just want to thank everyone who's watching. It's been a great night, and we're going to try to resume this another time when hopefully we don't have the technical difficulties we're having right now. We can get these things ironed out for next time. So I'm gonna try to do another show tomorrow night and Saturday night, and then next week I've reached out to Walter Bosley and Joseph Farrell, trying to get them on for another stream next week. Hope maybe Wednesday sometime. So live long and prosper, and we'll be getting some more disclosure happening this week. Lots of stuff coming out, man. And remember, the CIA killed JFK because of aliens. It's all about the aliens. We're not alone. They're covering it up. We don't have the. I believe that it's in these private corporations like Patel. They're the ones who, were the secret keepers for the Manhattan Project. Oppenheimer set these programs up to keep the secrets for the Manhattan Project. I know that these scientists were involved with the UFO phenomena because there's tons of reports of them visiting all of our nuclear sites and all that stuff. So they set up the secrecy to hide all this stuff. It's all under that. It's all in the JFK file. It's all going to come out. So just keep dropping seeds and make sure everyone's ready for this, because I don't know, the deep state's in a they're in panic mode right now, so they're just trying to pump out disinformation and as fast as they can. I do need a break. I'm gonna go get one right now. Later, guys.